From Royal Communications Incorporated, good afternoon and welcome to King's News Boom 45 Minutes News about Liberia, Africa, and our one world. Today is Thursday, December 4, 2025, and I'm Chamodia presenting. And the headlines makes reactions spark over lawmakers' monthly salary reduction. Several legislators reject as several citizens accuse Senator Reverend Darius Dillon of insincerity in his advocacy. Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission resumes alleges former officials' prosecution for misappropriation of 2022 National Population Housing Census funds, claims US 1.7 million as estimated loss. And also in the news this afternoon, government of Liberia announces closure of Boulevard Palace Hotel former manager Antoine Fatler death investigation. Says autopsy report indicates self-directed action as cause of death. Away from home, the leaders of the Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwanda are set to sign a peace deal aimed at ending the long-running conflict in the region at a summit hosted by U.S. President Donald Trump in Washington. Kenya's parliament has accused British soldiers of decades of sexual abuse, killings, human rights violations, and environmental destruction while training in the country. These plus a news bulletin and voices of those making the news at our package. We'll take a short break to be right back. Welcome back at this juncture with John Sam Andrews with the news bulletin.
Montserrat County Senator Darius Dillon bill for the reduction of lawmakers' salary has sparked mixed reaction amongst Liberians days after it was introduced. Senator Dillon proposed bill called for lawmaker salary reduction from 8,000 United States dollars to 5,000. The reduction of lawmakers' salary endorsed by NIDMOT, National Youth for Transparent Elections Partners Executive Director Eddie Jawolo, and several others, is being technically considered. Several others, including Martin Colley, believe Senator Dillon's advocacy lacks honesty, accusing him of continuously earning fat salaries in the last 7 years and failing to live up to his promises. Martin Colley, in a post, said, although Senator Darius Dillon indicated US 8,000 as the current take-home for lawmakers, each lawmaker is currently taking US 15,000 United States dollars every month, including benefits and salaries, contrary to Senator Dillon claims that they are only receiving 8,000. He described Senator Darius Dillon as a hypocrite and a liar who chooses to rely on the ignorance of some Liberians to exploit the system. Senator Darius Dillon bill introduced at the Senate during a meeting Tuesday has already been rejected by several senators, including Simeon Taylor, Zoe Penner, and Joseph Jala. At long last, the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission has resumed prosecution of Lagos officials that are entangled in the census corruption case. In 2022, former senior officials of Liberia Institute of Statistics and Geoinformation Services were accused of misappropriating money allocated for the 2022 National Population and Housing Census. The anti-graft institution said the case resumed before Criminal Court A following selection and induction of a 15-member jury. The defendants currently before the court include Dominic Pay, former controller, Lawrence George, former Deputy General for Administration. According to the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission, former Deputy Director General for Information and Coordination, Wilmot Smith, was severed from the case and is scheduled to be tried separately after the court confirmed he remains outside the jurisdiction of Liberia. The Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission said prosecution has presented claims of irregular procurement activities, including the purchase of a second-hand generator at an inflated price instead of a new unit as approved in the budget project. The Liberian government, through the Ministry of Justice, has announced the closure of investigation into the death of Anwar Futler, former manager of Boulevard Palace Hotel. In a statement issued Wednesday, the Justice Ministry disclosed that autopsy report established that the businessman died as a result of self-directed action. The statement issued under the signature of the Ministry Director of Press and Public Affairs, Jutonot Colley, added that the autopsy was conducted on January 7, 2025, based on a request of the alleged suicide of the Boulevard Palace Hotel former manager. According to the Justice Ministry, the autopsy was conducted by state pathologist Benedict Cooley in the presence of family members and the late Fuller, law enforcement officer, and mortuary attendants at St. Moses Funeral Home on Somalia Drive. The head of Liberia's parliamentary delegation to ECOWAS, Senator Edwin Snow, has emphasized the urgent need for stronger measures to ensure sustainability of peace and protection of democratic governance across the sub-region. Senator Snow's remarks followed the November 26 military coup in Guinea-Bissau, during which the military announced they had seized full control of the country. Addressing ECOWAS Parliament in Abuja, Nigeria, Senator Edwin Snow condemned the military takeover in Guinea-Bissau, described it as a threat to democratic stability in West Africa. According to Senator Edwin Snow, he and other members of ECOWAS Electoral Observation Mission had engagement with all stakeholders, particularly the candidates, in an effort to encourage acceptance of the election results in the interest of preserving peace and stability in Guinea-Bissau. Senator Snow, however, expressed dismay at the manner in which the military allegedly hijacked state authority, asserting that such action undermines the core principles and values of democracy. Bon County Representative Maima Briggs Menza has blasted ECOWAS for overlooking conflict triggers in country that lead to coup d'etat, but only condemn when damage has already been done. She mentioned the fourth term situation in Ivory Coast, the political issues in Gambia and Togo, and the insecurity in North Nigeria as issues that are either supported by some members or downplayed. She called for a better approach in handling such issues, warning that ECOWAS could be left with only 5 members if action is not taken. Representative Yeke Koluba has criticized House Speaker Richard Cohn and Deputy Speaker Thomas Fowler for failing to extend condolences to him following the death of his mother. Representative Yeke Koluba said several national leaders, including former Liberian President George Weah, former House Speaker Funanti Kofa, CDC Secretary General Jefferson Koji, Senate Pro Tem Yomlikanga Lawrence, Unity Party Chairman Luther Tapek, among others, reached out to sympathize with him. Speaking Wednesday when supporters of the Coalition for Democratic Change visited him at his residence, Representative Yeke Kolubat said he had informed members of the House of Representatives about his mother's passing through their official chat room, but claimed that one of his colleagues responded dismissively that he was merely seeking money from the legislature. Representative Kolubat added that he intends to fully address what he described as neglect by the House's leadership after completing a 2-month of mourning. The Civil Society Human Rights Advocacy Platform of Liberia and the Independent National Commission on Human Rights of Liberia have petitioned the Liberian Senate, calling for amendment on the bill seeking to establish the War and Economic Crime Code in Liberia. Recently, Senators Yomlikanga Lawrence and Joseph Jala sponsored a bill seeking to establish the War and Economic Crimes Code, but that bill did not make the proposed code independent. The bill, the senators requested an appeal court to be chaired by the Supreme Court of Liberia. Speaking shortly after presenting a 36 amendment bill to the Senate Committee on Judiciary and Human Rights, the platform Secretary General, Adam Dempster, disclosed that the bill is intended to make the War and Economic Crimes Code to have its own appeal chamber. According to Adam Dempster, establishing a War and Economic Crimes Court with the Supreme Court of Liberia serving as its court of appeal has the propensity to undermine the independence of the War Crime Tribunal, and it is not in line with international best practice. The chairperson of the Independent National Commission on Human Rights has described the culture of impunity as a serious problem and major factor that have created alarming killings of innocent people in several parts of Liberia. According to Dempster Brown, despite Liberians crying over the years for justice, they are yet to experience true justice. The Independent National Commission on Human Rights Board, however, expressed confidence in President Bouakar's executive order, which calls for the establishment of the War and Economic Crimes Court, adding, if it is established, the court will bring an end to impunity. Councillor Dempster Brown further noted that the court could help significantly in bringing relief to those who lost their relatives and friends during Liberia's internal conflict. He indicated that one of the biggest mistakes Liberians made over the years is to award power to people who reportedly killed innocent people, making reference to some ex-warlords who are currently in the Senate and the House of Representatives. Councillor Dempster Brown, who spoke to courtroom reporters, claimed that ex-rebel leaders are currently using their position and, along with some officials in government, undermining President Bouakar's effort regarding support to the office of the War and Economic Crimes Court. The Solidarity and Trust for a New Day has described the scheduled December 6th fundraising rally to build national headquarters and county chapters offices for the ruling Unity Party as money laundering. Stand Chairman Molba Molu said by appointing officials of government holding lucrative positions to serve as fundraisers is a ploy by Unity Party to steal from taxpayers and use the December 6th morning of fundraising rally to claim the stolen money. Just it is done by drug dealers. Addressing a press conference in Congo Town, Molba Molu claimed that the December 6th fundraising by Unity Party for the construction of a headquarters and county offices shows that these officials of government serving in lucrative positions are already begun stealing public funds in readiness for the 2029 to put Unity Party at the disadvantage of during the elections. And CDC Broome County chapter is set to break ground for the construction of its new party headquarters on Saturday, December 6 in Banga. Speaking to reporters at the proposed groundbreaking site, James Zwana, acting chairman of CDC Broome County, said the initiative is being fully undertaken by partisans in the county. He noted that the party in Broome County is determined to build a permanent headquarters without delay after years of operating from rented facilities. Mr. Zwanan emphasized that CDC remains a formidable force to reckon with across the political landscape of Liberia, noting that the party stands firm ahead of the 2029 presidential and legislative elections.
Sam Andrews with the news bulletin. The news bulletin is a regular feature on King's Newsroom. A reminder you listen to King's Newsroom, 45 minutes news about Liberia, Africa, and our own world. Stories we follow in this afternoon makes reactions spark over lawmakers' monthly salary reduction. Several legislators reject as citizens accuse Senator Abraham Darius DeLone of insincerity in his advocacy. Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission resumes alleges former officials' prosecution for misappropriation of 2022 National Population Housing Census funds, claims US 1.7 million as estimated loss. Government of Liberia announces closure of Bolovai Palace Hotel former manager annual folklore death investigation. Says autopsy report indicates self-directed action as cause of death. Away from home, the leaders of the Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwanda are said to sign a peace deal aimed at ending the long-running conflict in the region at a summit hosted by U.S. President Donald Trump in Washington. Kenya's parliament has accused British soldiers of decades of sexual abuse, killings, human rights violations, and environmental destruction while training in the country. We'll take a break to be back with voices of the newsmakers. Welcome back and thanks for being there. The head of Liberia's parliamentary delegation to the ECOWAS, Senator Edwin Snow, has emphasized urgent need for stronger measures to ensure stability of peace and the protection of democratic governance across the sub-region. Senator Snow's remarks followed the November 26 military coup in Guinea-Bissau, during which the military announced that they had seized full control of the country. Addressing ECOWAS Parliament in Abuja, Nigeria Senator Snow condemned the military takeover in Guinea-Bissau, describing it as a threat to democratic stability in West Africa.
Mr. Ibala was taken from his presidential palace, escorted to the airport by the very military, put in a private jet, and sent off to Sudan. But he was overthrown and arrested. But members of the opposition, the main opposition leader, Domingo, the candidate in the election, because that they were all arrested by the military. Our fellow ECOWAS parliamentarians have been arrested. So how can this be a military coup, or the military only arresting the opposition? And Mr. Mbalo and members of this cabinet are benefiting from what we call a coup. I will close my report to tell you, as chairman of the Committee on Political Affairs, Peace, Security, and the African Union and Unity of the ECOWAS Parliament, I can stay there on the oath and tell you that it was not a coup in the South. It was orchestrated by Mr. Ibalo, and ECOWAS was encouraged Congo, where Mr. Ibalo is, putting under pressure correct the situation in this country. But even in Congo, I'm told he's in chat, he's in contact. He's in contact with the military, he's even in contact with some members in this parliament here today. It's unfair for that coup and this parliament should condemn it to the highest level as submitted. Thank you.
Senator Edwin Melvin Snow, Liberia's head of delegation to the ECOWAS Parliament. The civil society human rights advocacy platform of Liberia and the Independent National Commission on Human Rights have petitioned the Liberian Senate calling for amendment on the bill seeking to establish the War and Economic Crimes Court in the country. Recently, Senators Nyamli Kanga Lawrence and Joseph Jala sponsored a bill seeking to establish a War and Economic Crimes Court. In the bill, the senators requested an appealed court to be chaired by the Supreme Court. However, speaking shortly, after presenting a 36-page amendment bill to the Senate Committee on Judiciary and Human Rights, the platform's Secretary General Adama Dempster disclosed that the bill is intended to make the War and Economic Crimes Court to have its own appeal claimer.
We heard that the Senate put forth a bill sponsored by the pro tempore Malan Lawrence, Nyomli Kanga Lawrence, and Senator Jala, Joseph K. Jala from Lofa County, put forth a bill. In the two bills, one of the bill has to do with the creation of the War Crimes Court. Though what was captured in the bill that has to do with war crime subjected the war crime process to the Supreme Court appellate jurisdiction, in which if any war crimes court, we has to be international large court, be subjected to the Supreme Court of the country, a compromise and also narrow the independence of the court. So we thought that international war crimes court from other statutes we've seen around the world has to be independent. They have to have their own trial chambers and appeal chamber to give accused person an opportunity to appeal when they are not satisfied. So on the basis of that, we engaged the Senate and had a conversation with them that civil society appreciate what they have done, because what we sought was the intent. So in law, intent is what matters. So the intent of the senators tie in with the intent of the civil society Independent National Commission on Human Rights that has to do with ending the court of impunity, holding people accountable for gross human rights violation, and then enacting a law that will hold people accountable for having committed war crimes in the country. So it tie in with the civil society, so we decided to move the process forward. So they asked us, send that as a case, what is the proposal or suggestion you guys have? So that took us back into our working session for 3 weeks almost, with no money budgetary support for any international organization, no government agency, civil society and Independent National Commission on Human Rights. We had a technical team that worked tirelessly to have produced a 36-page, draft legislation that was presented yesterday to the Liberian Senate Judiciary and Human Rights Committee for that incorporation and working as a working tool to improve on whatever bill that have been proposed by the two senators. The title of the bill is basically, borders around establishing the War Crimes Court. Okay. So the only modifications we made in our own amendment that was presented to them has to do with an act to establish a special war crime tribunal for Liberia. So the additional modification we made.
Adama Dempster is the Secretary General of the Civil Society Human Rights Advocacy Platform of Liberia. Monserrado County District 10 Representative Yeke Koluba has criticized House Speaker Reggie Cohn and Deputy Speaker Thomas Fala for allegedly failing to extend condolences following the death of his mother. Representative Koluba noted that several national leaders, including former President George Weah, former House Speaker Councilor Fonanti Kofa, CDC Secretary General Jefferson Koji, Senate Pro Tempore Yumli Kanga Lawrence, And the party chairman, Reverend Luther Tapper, had reached out to sympathize with him during his bereavement. Speaking on Wednesday, when supporters of the Coalition for Democratic Change visited him at his residence, Representative Koluba said he had informed members of the House of Representatives about his mother's passing through the official chat room.
I decided not to talk politics for the next 2 months. But let me say this to the Liberian people. Since my mother died, I posted in the chat room of the House of Representatives. Mr. Kuhn, the Regime Speaker, Mr. Thomas Fowler, the Regime Deputy Speaker, had never placed a call to me. And they said they honor the instruction of Mr. Boakai not to place a call to me. But it's not going to move me. In our chat room, one of the Regime lawmakers posted in the chat room of the House of Representatives. I announced that my mother is there because I want to look for money. It is okay. I will respond to him at the appropriate time. And when I respond to him, the Liberian people will feel and see my response. And in responding to him, I will respond to a lot of people at the appropriate time. And my response will be very dirty. That the earth will not be able to hold my response. Anybody that want to come to respond to my response will feel the weight of the opposition. I want to say a very big thank you. We were on Saturday when my mother passed out. I received a call from the former president, Ambassador George Manuel Weah. I received a call from the former vice president, Mother Joel Howard Taylor. And I also saw on that ground member of the opposition. Kalasco was there. And since the passing of my mother, the only people I've seen are the black of the opposition. I saw the former speaker, he came here. I got call from few members of the executive on their own. I got call from the Prote. I got call from Dallas Dillon. I got call from the Port Managing Director. I got call from the former Finance Minister, Honorable Twe. He called me. We want to say to you people that we are a member of the opposition, will not be deterred. Nothing will take us from the opposition. I want to say to members of the opposition that nothing. I wrote a communication to the House of Representatives. Let me just say this. In the 2024 budget and the 2025 budget, I have not received money for district number 10. The people have refused to give the district money for development. People are asking, what have you done for district number 10? You should be asking the government, what have you given to the representative for district number 10? If I get, I will deliver. My salary is not for me in district number 10, in my family. And I will always say this. Let them do what they can do. We will respond at the appropriate time. Sir Comrade, I want to say to you and the opposition here, I really appreciate you people, and we will work together to ensure that the Unity Party become a history company.
Maserado County District 10 Representative Yeke Koluba. A reminder, you're listening to King's Newsroom, 45 minutes news about Liberia, Africa, and our one world. Service following this afternoon makes reactions spark over lawmakers' monthly salary reduction. Several legislators reject as citizens accuse Senator Abraham Darius Dillon of insincerity in his advocacy. Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission presumes alleges former officials' prosecution for misappropriation of 2022 National Population Housing Census funds, claims US $1.7 million as estimated loss. Government of Liberia announces closure of Boulevard Palace Hotel former manager folklore death investigation, says autopsy report indicates self-directed action as cause of death. Away from home, the leaders of the Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwanda are set to sign the peace deal aimed at ending the long-running conflict in the region at a summit hosted by U.S. President Donald Trump in Washington. Kenya's parliament has accused British soldiers of decades of sexual abuse, killings, human rights violations and environmental destruction while training in the country. We'll take a break to be back with more voices, including our foreign news. Welcome back and thanks for being there. Brown County Representative Mohamed Briggs Minza has blasted ECOWAS for overlooking conflict triggered in countries that lead to coup d'etat, but only condemn when the damage is already done. She mentioned the 15 situation in the Africa Coast, the political issues in Gambia and Togo, and insecurity in northern Nigeria as issues that are either supported by some members of or downplayed. We'll bring you dissect in our subsequent newscast. The chairperson of the Independent National Commission on Human Rights has described the culture of impunity as a serious problem, major factor that have created alarming killings of innocent people in several parts of Liberia. According to him, despite Liberians' cries over the years for justice, they are yet to experience truth, justice. The INCHRO boss however, expressed confidence in President Boakai's executive order, which calls for establishment of the World Economic Crime Code, adding that if established, the code will bring an end to impunity.
The president is operating good faith, but the people around the president are not operating effectively.
Are you sure of this, Councilor Brown?
Yes, I've always seen this. I know the old man too well. He's slow but sure. He means what he say. But those that are around him, like for example, the issue of being court, a legal issue. The president is not a lawyer, but lawyers that are around him will be able to tell him the truth.
And they are misleading him.
They are not telling him the truth. And this is why I delay. And then I made it clear to the senators yesterday that President Baka is operating in good faith to curtail the culture of impunity. But we don't want his legacy to be destroyed. We want to make sure that that war crime code is established under his administration, and he will leave. One day he will leave.
Councilor Brown, you have been in a human rights business for a long period of time and now coming at the commissioners. Deep down into your heart, who do you think is ready as suppressing the establishment of the court?
We got people who fought war in the Senate and as a representative. And I made it clear that we made mistake to elect people from the various countries who took part in the war and killed people.
And you think they are the ones that are trying to stop the establishment of the court?
The possibility exists. And this is why we're going to push it. The civil society and the Human Rights Commission and the international community will make sure that the war crime code is established to help President Baka that is established. And we are going to monitor the exercise. Anybody that will discover that undermine will be sanctioned.
So how will you monitor this, Councilor Brown?
We got people in there. We got monitor all these agencies. Anybody that will discover in the Senate or House of Representatives that will undermine the establishment of this court will be sanctioned by international community.
So in the presentations, did you already give some ultimatum to them as to them passing this and to have the court kick off right away?
It was a question that was asked by one press friend from Front Page Africa, and the chairman of the judicial committee, the Senate, said that as soon as possible.
Some of the colleagues there who are fought, they are innocent. They are also pressing button too.
Yeah, but it can't work. It can't work. The Human Rights Commission will make sure that the war crime code is established. Even I was sitting down here today, I don't know where my mother's grave is. She was killed by warlords in Maryland County.
One thing I observe, any of these warlords that is currently in the Senate, when they hear you speak about this, they are jittering.
When I came up one time, I had a press conference on the issue of the same war crime code, and I said my mother died. And I named the faction that killed my mother, LPC. The head of LPC came up and said I was trying to lie on the LPC. But one of the doctrine of respondent superior, if you are the head of any institution, anything happens, to you responsible.
My former representative George Bolle.
Yes, definitely. He came up and challenged I can't argue with him because he doesn't know what he's talking about.
But he challenged you now, so you should have some proof.
No, the issue here is LPC killed people in Maryland County everybody. My mother was going to Ivory Coast, running away, and they killed her. Today, I know where my mother's grave is.
Chairperson of the Independent National Commission on Human Rights, Councilor Dempster Brown. CDC Brown County chapter is set to break grounds for the construction of its new party headquarters on Saturday, December 6. Speaking to reporters at the proposed groundbreaking site, James Towel Zwanan Acting chairman of the CDC Bond County chapter said the initiative is being fully undertaken by partisans in the county.
I decided not to talk politics for the next.
So my name is James Towers Ron. I'm the county chair of the Mighty Congress of Democratic Change. So this is where we hope to build the party headquarters. From the concept, the party have been renting to buildings around. So we start making our own in this place we do for the party headquarters in this land to be owned by Congress of Democratic Change. So we all know about the same for the Congress of Democratic Change. Things have been very okay. The supporters, giving all their inputs, pulling all sharing into place. They are doing very good. They have been so wonderful. Because of that, we are reaching well. So they will be caring. Months from now, you come here and see, a gigantic building here. At this place, we're living like a little city, palace. Trust me. So, this will be the party there. Once you don't want to see CDC, okay, you have to close your eyes and park. So coming from Ganja, coming from Monrovia, no option. You don't want to see this party. You have to close your eyes and then run through the street and pass the building. So we expect massive support. The support has already started coming. And that's why you see what we do. It will take us no time to build this party here. It's not Monrovia initiated, it's just the parties in here. And we tell you, Bond County is ready this time to deliver to the Congress of Democratic Change. So, we got what for president now. It's a complete victory for us. So, we now just want to see. Just wait to see October 2029. George Weah is coming to this country to take the mantle of authority. There's no way to do about that. You don't believe that? Just watch and see for what we're doing. You will see a difference. And George Weah is coming back to give us this country and those who take the rescue. But we don't see anything about rescue. But George Weah is a real rescuer. And you see it right in the mouth. My name is James Towers Ron.
Acting chairman of the CDC Bond County chapter, James Towers-Wana, they're announcing the upcoming groundbreaking for the CDC headquarters in Bond County. The Solidarity and Trust for a New Day has described the scheduled December 6th fundraiser rally to build national headquarters and county chapter offices for the Unity Party as money laundering. Since Chairman Moba Malo said by appointing officials of government holding lucrative positions to serve as fundraisers is applauded by the Unity Party to steal from taxpayers and use the December 6th fundraising rally to clean the stolen money.
We will not allow you to put your hand in the collective treasury of the state and take money from there to empower one party above other parties. That creates an unfair playing field that undermines democracy. That gives you an unfair advantage. If you are putting your hand in taxpayers' money to build party headquarters today, what else will you do in 2029 when it comes to his re-election bid? The fact that officials of government in lucrative positions have been appointed publicly as members or leaders of a fundraising enterprise to raise money, to raise millions of dollars to construct UP headquarters, national headquarters, county headquarters, regional headquarters, logically indicate that taxpayers' monies have been used or will be used for that exercise. So what I see is this is an extension or a clever attempt to launder money, because you are stealing taxpayers' money and you go into a fundraising event to create the impression that you are raising the money from there, thereby cleaning that money. That's what drug dealers do. They steal money and build nightclubs, build bars, and create the impression that the money they got now, their wealth is traced to the running of that nightclub. Yeah. But in reality, the owners stole the money and are simply transmitting it through the nightclub to clean the money. So that event on Saturday is money laundering. UP is attempting to justify tens of millions of dollars through a fake and sham fundraising endeavor at the expense of the people's tax dollar.
Stern Chairman Moba Molu. Away from home, the leaders of the Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwanda are set to sign the peace deal aimed at ending the long-running conflict in the region at a summit hosted by U.S. President Donald Trump in Washington. Ahead of the summit, there has been an escalation in fighting in resource-rich Eastern DR Congo between government forces and rebels believed to be backed by Rwanda. DR Congo's army accused its rivals of attempting to sabotage the peace process, but the M23 rebels say the army had launched an offensive in breach of a ceasefire. At the start of the year, the M23 seized large parts of eastern DR Congo in an offensive that saw thousands killed and many more forced from their homes. And Kenya's parliament has accused British soldiers of decades of sexual abuse, killings, human rights violations, and environmental destruction while training in the country. The report details harrowing testimony from communities in Lukapia and Samburu counties near the military training bases. The British soldiers are accused of evading accountability by refusing to cooperate with the paramilitary investigation. The UK High Commission Kenya said it regretted that its submission was not reflected in the report's conclusion and reaffirmed its readiness to investigate the allegations on a jurisdiction. Well, on that note, that's how we figure come to the near end of this edition of King's Newsroom. But before we leave, a quick reminder of stories we followed in the headlines. Mixed reaction spike over lawmakers' monthly salary reduction. Several legislators reject as citizens accuse Senator Abraham Darrell's Delon of insincerity in his advocacy. Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission resumes alleges former officials' prosecution for misappropriation of 2022 National Population Housing Census funds, claims US 1.7 million as estimated loss. You also heard in the news, government of Liberia announces closure of Boulevard Palace Hotel. Former manager Anthony Futler death investigation says autopsy report indicates self-directed action as cause of death. Away from home, the leaders of the Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwanda are set to sign the peace deal aimed at ending the long-running conflict in the region at a summit hosted by U.S. President Donald Trump in Washington. Kenya's parliament has accused British soldiers of decades of sexual abuse, killings, human rights violations, and environmental destruction while training in the country. Many thanks to our reporters, correspondents, and all those who helped in making this edition of King's Newsroom a success. Sam Andrews brought you the news bulletin in a sat control. On behalf of the team, I'm Shemon Dale. I presented. Thanks for listening and watching.